Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to the Congregation of Yahweh. Today is, April 28th, and it's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
It's been a beautiful couple of days, so hope you've been enjoying it. Today I'm going to continue on what I started on last week. My general topic of everything that I talk about is Yah's kingdom.
Yes.
All right? And how important it is for us to know that we are a part of a kingdom. You know, a lot of people, they don't realize that the government we have in the United States, it's not a kingdom. You know how you know it's not a kingdom? Because people vote. There's no voting in a kingdom. Okay? All right. All right, so let's start off. I'm going to backtrack a little bit from last week, watching my time, all right? So according to Merriam-Webster, all right, and we're talking about kingdom culture again. Culture is the customary beliefs, social forms, and material traits of a racial, religious, or social group. Also, the characteristic features of everyday existence, such as diversions or way of life shared by people in a place or time, popular culture, Southern culture examples. All right. So people in the South, we're in the South. We know what Southern hospitality is. We know what Southern culture is. All right. Now that's Miriam. Now, in talking about culture, the word itself has an origin. All right, and it comes from the idea of cultivation, tillage. Okay, it has to do with that. It's an agricultural term, is what it is. So when we think about culture, it's important that we go back to kind of what the origin of this word means, because as we go through a few scriptures in a little while, we're going to see that the idea of tillage and cultivation come out of Scripture. It's nothing new. All right, so to cultivate means to prepare or to use for raising crops. It means to foster growth. As you notice the B there, it's the word culture again. So culture and cultivate go together. All right? Any questions so far? I'm going to do something a little different from what I normally do. I normally let everybody read because I like to hear everybody read, and I would prefer you hear Yah's word in your own mouth rather than mine. But because of time constraints and the way things are going to go, I'm going to do most of the reading myself. But as always, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, please feel free. I do like it to be interactive. All right. Now, this is just a general statement. Every civilization has a culture. All right. Every civilization has a set of norms of conduct and standard forms of communication. Okay. That's where culture comes out of. It's how you conduct yourself on a day-to-day basis and how you communicate. All right. Just still backtracking a little bit. All right. Our civilization, us here and spread out around the world that follow Yah, our civilization is a kingdom. It's not a democracy. It is not a republic. It's a kingdom. And because we are so far removed from kingdom, there are a lot of concepts, there's a lot of thoughts, there's a lot of mindset that we don't get because of our Western culture and the whole idea of being in a democracy. So hopefully in hearing me speak, there's some of this that may come back because it's really important. All right. Any questions so far? Good. All right. So we talked about as far as coming into the kingdom, okay, it means that you're coming under the reign, the rule of Yah. That's what it means to be in his kingdom. And in getting into his kingdom, it's really simple. There is a call that goes out. That call is called the gospel. It's good news, all right? And then we're called to enter in, or to enter into his reign. And then we have a responsibility after that. He tells us what he wants, but it's our job to get it. He gives it, but we have a part in the whole thing by receiving what he's giving. It's a two-part. He can give it all he wants, but if you don't take it, what good is it for you? All right? So, in our kingdom, we have a code of conduct, that's Torah. We also have a language. Standard speech is Hebrew. Okay? I'm not going to go into Hebrew right now because I'm still trying to establish culture, but eventually I will have the opportunity to do that. Okay? Yah gives us, and if you go back and you look at last week's message, you'll see that Yah gives us his culture by covenant. But it comes through Torah. All right? So when we take and we enter into his covenant that he will be our Elohim and we will be his people and that we're going to do what he says to do, we're partaking in kingdom culture. All right? All right, so last week we looked at Adam. We looked at Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses with the children of Israel for the covenants that he established through these people. And these covenants are still good with us today. Even the one with Noah, we still have a rainbow. Talked about the rainbow. All right? So these covenants are all still good. They're additive. All right, we looked at the term covenant. It's berit in Hebrew. It means a compact. It means a confederacy, a league. But the importance of Yah's covenants is that they are ratified with blood. Okay? So we just read it. Okay? Thank you so much, Carl, for your reading. You know, these covenants don't become effective without the shedding of blood. Previous, it was the blood of bulls and goats. Since then, it's been the blood of Messiah. All right? Am I moving too fast? All right. So let's go to, actually, let me see. I'm going to skip. Because I have such a small amount of time, I'm going to go to kind of the meat of the matter. All right, so these are the scriptures that we're going to go to. Now, we have a way of being able to ratify things according to the word. It says that upon the word of two or more witnesses is a word established. All right? So, in a little bit, we're going to have Moses' words in Deuteronomy. We're going to have Jeremiah the prophet and Ezekiel the prophet. We got three witnesses on what I'm about to talk about because covenant is so important. We have to know what covenant are we dealing with, okay? Let's back up just a little bit. In our time, and in our day, we understand that we are under a new covenant, okay? Now, this is brought to us in the Greek language. It's krehinos is the word that is, when in conjunction with covenant, krehinos is used and not the Greek word neos. And I'm going to tell you the difference between the two, okay? When a baby is just born, we have a newborn baby, meaning this baby has never seen the world before. This is something new in existence. By the same token, you know, my house was built in the 1970s, but when I got it, I was telling everybody I had a new house. Well, was the house in existence before I got it? Yes, it was, but it was new to me. So when you're dealing with something that's brand new, you're dealing with neos. When you're dealing with something that's new to you, it's krehinos. Okay? So when we're talking about a covenant, the word renewed becomes effective because it's something that has been in existence already, but because it was broken and made ineffective, it had to be renewed, meaning the old covenant was brought back to the present. Okay? That's why Torah is so important. A lot of us a lot of the world, I'm going to say. In here, I know that you guys know it. And really, in my talk, I'm talking to three people, okay? If you don't know this, I want you to know it. If you do know this, but you're not able to put all the pieces together, or if you're not able to convey this information, hopefully the way that I present it will allow you to do that, okay? And if you do know it, you're confirmed in it, I just want to be a witness to you that you're on the right track. So I think that covers everybody, okay? So let's go here. All right, because this is equated with our culture as a people, what is the new or renewed covenant? So this is the question I'm going to answer today. This is our culture, our covenant with Yah, all right? So let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 10, and we're going to do verses 12 through 22. And like I said, I'm going to do all the reading, but I'll leave this up here for you. All right, let me get to there. Any questions so far? Excellent. Okay, this is Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12 through 22, and this is it in the Scriptures 2009. And now, Israel, what is Yah your Elohim asking of you but to fear Yah your Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to love him and to serve him? To serve Yah your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being, to guard the commands of Yah and his laws with all which I command you today for your good. See, the heavens and the earth, the heavens and the heaven of heavens belong to Yah your Elohim. Also the earth with all that is in it. Yah delighted only in your fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, you above all people as it is today. You shall circumcise the foreskins of your heart and harden your neck no more. For Yah your Elohim is Elohim of mighty ones and master of masters, the great El, mighty and awesome, who shows no partiality nor takes a bribe. He executes right ruling for the fatherless and the widow, and loves the stranger, gives him food and a garment. And you shall love the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Mitzrayim. Fear Yah your Elohim, serve him and cling to him. Swear by his name. He is your praise. He is your Elohim, who has done he has done for you these great and awesome deeds, which your eyes have seen. Your fathers went down into Mitzrayim with 70 beings, and now Yah your Elohim has made you numerous as the stars of heaven. Now that last statement there, stars of heaven, should kind of be like little flashing lights, because this is the same thing that he told Abraham, that his seed would be as the stars of heaven. So we're seeing here that Yah has been faithful, and he has made this to come to pass, starting with 70 people. All right. Now, the important thing that I want you to focus on here, and I'm going to repeat it again, and you shall circumcise the foreskin of your heart and harden your neck no more. Anybody who is a understander of the covenant that Yah made with Abraham, he knows that it's a covenant of circumcision. But that was a circumcision in the flesh. Okay? This is Deuteronomy. This is Torah. This is Moses speaking as Yah told him to speak. He's saying, you shall circumcise the foreskin of your heart. This is our new covenant. All right? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 30. Okay, I'm going to read verse 1 through 20. And it shall be, when all these words come upon you, the blessing and the cursing which I have set before you, and you shall bring them back to your heart among all the nations where Yah your Elohim drives you, and shall turn back to Yah your Elohim and obey his voice according to all that I commanded you today, with all your heart, with all your being, and your children, then Yah your Elohim will turn back your captivity, and shall have compassion on you. And he shall turn back and gather you from the peoples where Yah your Elohim has scattered you. If any of you are driven out to the farthest parts under the heaven, from there Yah your Elohim does gather you, and from there he does take you. And Yah your Elohim shall bring you into the land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it. And he shall do good to you, and increase you more than your fathers. And Yah your Elohim shall circumcise your heart and the heart of your seed to love your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being, so that you might live. And Yah your Elohim shall put all these curses on your enemies and those who hate you, who persecute you. And you shall turn back and obey the voice of Yah, and do all his commandments which I command you today. And Yah your Elohim shall make you have excess in all the works of your hand, and the fruit of your body, and the fruit of your livestock, and the fruit of your ground, for good. For Yah turns back to rejoice over you for good, as he rejoiced over your fathers. All right? Now, news bulletin, everybody. I don't care if you didn't know it before. You are in captivity. In case you didn't know, okay? You are in captivity. Yah has fulfilled his word. He has taken Abraham's seed and he has strewn it all across this world. Now, just because you don't know you're Abraham's seed, that doesn't stop you from being Abraham's seed, okay? But the thing about it is, it's a Russian roulette thing because nobody knows really, okay? Even the Jews in Israel, I'm not even sure if they know for sure, okay? They're in the land, that's fine, no problem. But this word has come to pass, okay? And what he promises that, and I'm going to say in the day and time that we are, will shortly come to pass, that he's going to take all that seed and he's going to bring it back to the place where he wants us to be. That's a promise. All right? Today. I'm ready to go. All right. But there's a couple of things I want you to see in here. First, and Yah your Elohim will circumcise your heart and the heart of your seed. For what purpose? To love him. When we obey, we're showing love for him. There's nothing else we can give him. Nothing. He needs nothing from us but for us to obey him. All right? Now, the other thing is, let's see. These words should also bring into remembrance the words of Christ, of our Messiah. What was the greatest command? That you would love Yah with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, all your strength. That's out of Torah. That's not New Testament Christianity. That's not what this is. This is quote unquote Old Testament Hebrewism. Okay? All right. Let's go to let's see. Now this is a continuation of Deuteronomy. If you obey the voice of Yah your Elohim to guard his commands and his laws which are written in the book of the Torah. All right? If you turn back to Yah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being, for his command, which I am commanding you today, is not too hard for you. This flies in the face of Christianity because they say it is too hard, you just can't do it. Don't even try. All right? Obviously, what they're saying out there and what this word's saying here is not the same. I'm going to tell you, listen to this book. Okay? He's saying it's not too hard for you. All right? If you turn back to Yah your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being, for this command which I command you today is not too hard for you, nor is it far off. It is not in the heavens to say, who shall ascend to the heavens for us to bring it to us and cause us to hear it so that we do it? Nor is it beyond the sea to say, who shall go to the sea for us and bring it to us and cause us to hear it so that we shall do it? For the word is very near you, in your mouth and in your heart to do it. See, I have set before you today life and good, death and evil, in that I am commanding you today to love Yah your Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to guard his commandments, his laws, his right rulings, and you shall live in increase, and Yah your Elohim will bless you in the land which you go to possess. But if your heart turn away, and you do not obey, and shall be drawn away, and shall bow down to other mighty ones to serve them, I have declared to you today that you shall certainly perish. You shall not prolong your days in the land as a witness to get, which you are passing over the Yarden to enter and possess. I have called the heavens and earth as witness today against you. I have set before you life and death, blessing and the curse. Therefore choose life, so that you live, both you and your seed, to love Yah your Elohim, to obey his voice, and to cling to him. For he is your life and length of days, to dwell in the land which Yah swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them. All right? I can't make this any simpler. He set before you life, and he set before you death. He says, choose life. Any questions? All right. Let's go to... Okay, this is Jeremiah chapter 4. And this is going to be verse 1 through 4. Okay, so we've heard Moshe as a witness. All right, now we have Jeremiah speaking. If you do return, O Israel, declares Yah, return to me. And if you remove your abominations from my presence and cease straying, and shall swear as Yah lives in truth and in right ruling and in righteousness, then nations shall bless themselves in him, and they shall boast in him. For this is what Yah said to the men of Yahudah and Jerusalem: break up your tillable ground and do not sow among thorns. Circumcise yourselves to take unto Yah, and take away the foreskin of your hearts, you men of Yahudah, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, lest my wrath come forth like a fire and burn with none to quench it because of your evil deeds. All right? Jeremiah is telling us the same thing here. Okay? So we are to circumcise the foreskin of our hearts. Your flesh means nothing. Okay? And he says, break up your tillable ground. Culture. Like I said, the idea of culture, cultivation, does not come from the world. The world has taken it and perverted it. But we are to break up our ground so that when he plants his word there, it will grow and bear fruit. Okay? That's all he wants of us. You know, he wants us to grow for him and bear fruit for him. That's our only job. You know, any plant outside will do that, and you don't even have to tell it to do anything. But we you know us, right? Okay. Jeremiah chapter 24. Okay. So this is going to be like a little parable. You know, the Bible loves parables, all right? Yah showed me, and look, there were 2 baskets of figs set before the Hikel of Yah, after Nebuchadnezzar reigned in Babylon, had exiled Yechanyahu, son of Jehoiakim, sovereign of Yahudah, and the heads of Yahudah, with the craftsmen and the smiths of Jerusalem, and had brought them to Babel. 1 basket had very good figs, like the figs that are first ripe. The other basket had very spoiled figs, which could not be eaten because they were so spoiled. And Yah said to me, what do you see, Yirmiyahu? And I said, figs. The good figs, very good. The spoiled, very spoiled, which could not be eaten, they're so spoiled. And again the word of Yah came to me, saying, thus says Yah, the Elohim of Israel, like these good figs, so I acknowledge the exiles of Yahudah, whom I have sent out of this place for their own good, into the land of Kasdim. And I shall set my eyes on them for good, and shall bring them back to this land, and I shall build them and not pull them down, shall plant them and not pluck them up. And I shall give them a heart to know me, that I am Yah. And they shall be my people, and I shall be their Elohim, for they shall turn back to me with all their heart. Yeah. And as the spoilt figs that could not be eaten because they're so spoilt, for thus Yah says, so do I give up Sidkiah, the sovereign of Yahudah, his head, the rest of Jerusalem who remain in the land, and those who dwell in the lands of Mitzrayim. I shall make them a horror to all the reigns of the earth, for evil to be a reproach and a byword, a mockery and a curse, in all the places which I drive them. And I shall send the sword and scarcity of food and pestilence among them, till they are consumed from the land that I gave them to them and their fathers. All right? So we got two sets. We got a really good set, and we got a really bad set. All right? The good thing about this is you get to choose which basket you're in. He didn't put you in a basket. He looked at your fruit and determined which basket you go in. So you make a choice of how you bear. Now, obviously, if you're a good tree, you're going to bear good fruit. If you're a bad tree, you're going to bear bad fruit. But that was all by your choices, not because he made you to do anything. All right? Let's go to Jeremiah 31. Okay, it's going to be verse 23 through 34. Thus says Yah of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, let them once again say this word in the land of Yahudah and in its cities, that I turn back their captivity. Yah bless you, O home of righteousness, mountain of set apartness. And in Yahudah and all the cities, farmers and those who journey with flocks shall dwell together. For I shall fill the weary being, and I shall replenish every grieved being. At this I woke and I looked around, and my sleep was sweet to me. See, the days are coming, declares Yah, that I shall sow the house of Israel and the house of Yahudah with the seed of men and the seed of beasts. And it shall be that as I have watched them to pluck them up and to break down and to throw down and to destroy and to afflict, so shall I watch over them to build and to plant, declares Yah. In those days they shall no longer say, the fathers ate sour grape, and the children's teeth are blunted. But each one shall die for his own crookedness. Whoever eats sour grapes, his teeth shall be blunted. See, the days are coming, declares Yah, when I shall make a renewed covenant with the house of Israel and with all the house of Yahudah, not like the covenant which I made with their fathers, when I strengthened their hand to bring them out of the land of Mitzrayim, my covenant which they broke, though I was a husband to them, declares Yah. For this is my covenant, for this is the covenant I shall make with the house of Israel after those days, declares Yah. I shall put my Torah in their inward parts, and write it upon their hearts. This is circumcision of the heart, all right? And I shall be their Elohim, and they shall be my people, And no longer shall they teach anyone his neighbor, and each one his brother, saying, Know Yah. For they shall all know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them, declares Yah. For I shall forgive their crookedness, and remember their sin no more. Now, notice, if your teeth are going to be blunted, that's because you ate sour grapes. Not because he gave them to you. His stuff isn't, none of his stuff is sour. You got to go searching for the bad stuff. Okay, you got, I'll be honest with you. As a sinner, I worked at it. I did. I had to go looking for my sin. All right? But I've noticed that Yah is so good. He puts it before me. And I have to make a choice. Am I going to give what he's given to me? Or am I going to go back to what's comfortable and convenient? There's a lot of comfortableness and convenience in this world. Carl was just talking about how hard it is to live by the laws of Yah when you're in this world. Just mentioned it. All right? That's for a reason. It's kind of like one of the things I said last week. We are in a boat in a river, and there's a current that will take us somewhere. If we stop paddling, the river's taking us. We got to work at it, and we got to be continually working at it. We can't just stop. All right, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 32. All right, this is Jeremiah 32, verses 36 through 44. And now thus says Yah your Elohim, the Elohim of Israel, concerning the cities of which you say, It shall be given into the hand of the sovereign of Babel by the sword, and by scarcity of food, and by pestilence. See, I am gathering them out of all the lands where I have driven them in my displeasure, and in my wrath, and in great rage. And I shall bring them back to this place, and shall let them dwell in safety. And they shall be my people, and I shall be their Elohim. And I shall give them one heart and one way to fear me all the days, for the good of them and for their children after them. And I shall put my fear in their hearts, so as not to turn aside from me. I shall rejoice over them to do them good, and shall plant them in this land in truth with all my heart and with all my being. For thus says Yah, as I have brought all this great evil on this people, so I am bringing all the good that I am speaking to them. And fields shall be bought in the land which you are saying is a wasteland and without beast, and it shall be given into the hand of the Castines. Fields shall be bought for silver, and deeds signed and sealed, and witnesses be called in the land of Benjamin, and in places all around Jerusalem, and in the cities of Yehudah, and in the cities of the mountains, and in the cities of the low country, and in the cities of the south. For I shall turn back their captivity, declares Yah. So yes, we are in captivity. But it's okay. He's got this. And at his time and in his way, he's going to put us where he wants us to be. There's not a power in hell. There's not a power on earth. There's not a power in heaven that is going to undo this or stop it from happening. Because he's already declared it. All right? Ezekiel chapter 11. Okay, we got two more scriptures we're going to do. Ezekiel chapter 11, verse 14 through 21, and Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 16 through 36. So it's going to be our last two. 11, 14 through 21. Then the word of Yah came to me, saying, Son of man, your brothers, your relatives, your kinsmen, and all the house of Israel, all of it, those who are about whom the inhabitants of Jerusalem say, Keep far from Yah, This land has been given to us as a possession. Therefore say, thus says the Master Yah, although I have sent them far off among the nations, although I have scattered them among the lands, yet I was for them a set-apart place for a little while in the land to which they came. Therefore say, thus says the Master Yah, I shall gather you from the peoples, and I shall assemble you from the lands where you have been scattered, and I shall give you the land of Israel. And they shall go there, and shall take away all the disgusting matters, and all of the abominations from there. And I shall give them one heart, and put a new spirit within them, and I shall take the stony heart out of their flesh, and give them a heart of flesh, that they will, so that they walk in my laws, and guard my right rulings, and shall do them. And they shall be my people, and I shall be their Elohim. But to those whose hearts walk after the heart of their disgusting matters and their abominations, I shall recompense their deeds on their own heads, declares Master Yah. Okay? So here we have Ezekiel. He's given us the same report that Moses gave us, and so far the same report that Jeremiah has given us. The promise is a new heart, a circumcised heart that is set to love Yah. All right? Any questions on that? Okay, good. I guess I'm doing all right up here. All right. Where's my mouse? There it is. Okay, Ezekiel chapter 36. And we're going to end with this. Verse 16 through 34. And the word of Yah came to me, saying, Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land, they defiled it by their own ways and deeds. To me their way was like the uncleanness of a woman on her monthly period. So I poured out my wrath on them for the blood that they had shed on the land, and for their idols they defiled it. And I scattered them among the nations, and they were dispersed through the lands. I have judged them according to the ways of their deeds, and when they came to the nations, wherever they went, they profaned my set-apart name. For it was said of them, These are the people of Yah, yet they are gone out of his land. But I had compassion on my set-apart name, which the house of Israel has profaned among the nations wherever they went. Therefore say unto the house of Israel, Thus said the Master Yah, I do not do this for your sake, O house of Israel, but for my set-apart name's sake, which you have profaned among the nations wherever you went. And I shall set apart my great name, which has been profaned among the nations, which you have profaned in their midst. And the nations shall know that I am Yah, declares Master Yah, when I set apart you before their eyes. And I shall take you from among the nations, and I shall gather you out of all the lands, and I shall bring you into your own land, and I shall sprinkle clean water on you, and you shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all your idols I cleanse you. And I shall give you a new heart, and put a new spirit within you. And I shall take the heart of stone out of your flesh, and I shall give you a heart of flesh, and put my spirit within you. And I shall cause you to walk in my laws, and guard my right rulings, and shall do them. And you shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and you shall be my people, and I shall be your Elohim. And I shall save you from your uncleanness, and I shall call for the grain and increase it, and there shall be no scarcity of food upon you. I have increased the fruit of your trees and increased your fields, so that you never again bear the reproach of scarcity of food among the nations. And you shall remember your evil ways and your deeds that were not good. And you shall loathe yourselves in your own eyes for your crookedness and your abominations. Not for your sake I am acting, declares Master Yah. Let it be known to you. Be ashamed and blush for your ways, O house of Israel. Thus said the Master Yah, on the day that I cleanse you from all your crookedness, I shall cause the cities to be inhabited and the ruined places to be rebuilt, and the land that was laid waste tilled instead of ruined before the eyes of all who pass by. All right? So we've listened to 3 witnesses today. We've had Moses, we've had Jeremiah, and we've had Ezekiel. All 3 spoke in your hearing today. You have a choice whether you are going to be a part of this world. You'll be a part of the very bad figs. This is death, okay? He says choose life. And this is for each of us to do as individuals. Your parents, I don't care if they've been walking in the way for the last 50 years. Their salvation, their covenant with Yah does not count for the children. Each and every child has to confirm that covenant for himself. All right? Now, the last thing I'm just going to focus on right here is not only do we have a new heart that he's placing within us, he's also placing a new spirit within us. And one of the things that I want to submit, and I have a lot of people that I know, some people that I love even, that say that they are filled with the Spirit of God, right? If you are not following Torah, if your heart is not pricked by this message to follow him and to do simply what he says to do, I'm going to submit to you that the spirit that you think you have is not a holy one. I do love you, and out of love I give you this message. But simply read what it says. If you have the Holy Spirit in you, you're going to obey him. Yahweh bless.